There's no way to travel to. Alright, so I think this is it. Let me just stop messing around then. So this is it. And we are not gonna absolve him because he shot a guy in the head while mugging him. Right? So he was mugging him while shooting and shot him in the head in the process. So there's nothing innocent about that.
Charles Foley, you committed the crime of premeditated murder and of theft. You will be severely punished for your deeds.
You are pitiful, you Scotland Yard dog.
Save your words for the gallows. I'm sure the journalists will love them. I shall leave now, Watson. Gentlemen, please take our friends here into custody.
Where are you going?
I have unfinished business. I'll see you at Baker Street.
The Merry Men are gonna bomb somewhere with their gunpowder. And we're not done. That moustache though, look at that.
Be careful with the lamps. Don't bring them too close to the barrels.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Who's there?
That is of no importance. What matters is who you are and the plans that you have here.
So you can stop us from carrying them out?
Eventually, yes.
Hey, careful. You'll blow us all up.
I'm listening.
We are a group known as the Merry Men. But I suppose you knew that already. We are the men who've already lost everything of value in their lives. We are ruined shopkeepers. We are workers who were fired from their jobs, honest people who were robbed. We were forced out from our homes and thrown onto the street, and all of this in the name of the so-called law. The laws that were set out by our government. The laws that make the commoners only more vulnerable and the wealthy more protected. We are not only from the British Empire. Some of us are from the New Lands, America, Australia, and we are many. But men we are still, and we are merry for that we stopped being afraid. For those powers that be had done their best to plant the fear inside our souls, and we accepted it so easily. The fear advised us to keep our heads bowed. It prevented us from fighting. Bankers and politicians, they own our lives, our work, our bread, and they push us to compete between each other, just to see who may serve them better. But in the end, they are the few, so they are weak. They are nothing without their titles. We should not fear them. Our so-called masters should fear us instead. The time has come for our group to stand tall. Our great and many merry men. We are going to blow up the London Stock Exchange. No life shall be lost. But ownerships, debts, and property titles? They shall all be destroyed. They're only papers, after all. So many people will be freed over this night.
That is a radical step to take. What result do you truly expect?
Chaos. But soon people will understand that they are free, and that they don't belong to anyone. They will be able to work for themselves, together, without letting the rulers dictate what to do, and finally justice will arise.
What you are intending to do is a crime. It is not justice.
How do you see justice, then? Kids go to prison for a loaf of dry bread. And how many lords do you see punished for stealing from their people, sending them to their deaths in mines or overseas to fight for land? Our masters wouldn't hear us. So now it's time to sing the song of the merry men. Will you let us do our duty?
No. Not like this. Throw cigarette, throw cigarette. Not like this. So here's the thing about bombs and terrorism. It doesn't lead to peace, right? Blowing things up does not lead to peace. Bombs don't lead to peace. If you have a legitimate cause that you're fighting for, you don't need to fight in the shadows. Fight in the light. Fight in the light. You will put your lives on the line, right? You will attract the attention of those who are against you, and they will try to kill you. But fight in the light. Don't fight in the shadows. Don't bomb people. Just stand up, speak up, protest, strike. Organize a general strike. Protest in the streets. But don't bomb things, and don't do it in the dark. Do it in the light. Accept your beatings, accept your imprisonments, accept your executions even. But have yourself an open rebellion, and don't resort to terrorism.
When people fight the order, they are too blind to see the consequences that throw society into chaos. I shall stop your actions, but not you. Run. Now!
Like, if you resort to terrorism, you will turn public opinion against you and you will lose. So that actually helps the Merry Men, because the Merry Men would not achieve their objective by blowing up the London Stock Exchange. Right? Because it will just turn everyone against them, because everyone's scared of being blown up, and so the people will end up working with the authorities to track them down and to stop them. So terrorism doesn't work the way you think it will work. It can scare people. It might even scare them into doing irrational things, but it won't overthrow them. Right? If you want a true revolution, you need to do it in the open. You do need to do it in the open. And yes, you put your life on the line when you come out into the open and make yourself a target. But that's the price you pay for doing what's right.
So, you're interested in Russian literature now?
Quite lately.
It is an interesting book. I remember a few lines.
Really? I tried reading it myself, but I had a hard time understanding it.
Yes, Doctor. It's about intelligence. Sherlock, I vaguely recall one of the lines. Sometimes it takes something more than intelligence to act intelligently. There were also a few words along the lines of, pain and suffering are always inevitable for a large intelligence and a deep heart. Tell me, Doctor, does my brother show any signs of pain or suffering?
Not that I know of.
Because you see, Doctor, behind all of his masquerade, my brother does possess a deep heart. So deep that he does not recall where he places his love.
Well, I'm sure that...
His love and his duty that, in the first place, should be directed towards the Empire. For without it, we would be nothing. A country filled with uncivilized men.
And the Empire needs order and discipline. It has no room for chaos.
People who commit crimes, or at the very least intend them, deserve punishment, Sherlock. Without justice, there can be no civilization.
But we serve the truth, not justice.
Your truth, Doctor, that may prove immoral. Allowing people to terrorize London, destabilizing the whole empire.
Terrorize only the powers whom you serve, Mycroft. Not I, not Watson, not Mrs. Hudson, not Wiggins.
Sherlock, the merry men are to be stopped.
Not by me. You created the merry men. Stop them yourself. Only make sure that you don't create 10 more merry men by arresting the one.
Good night, Dr. Watson.
Anything in the post, Watson? Any clients worthy of our attention?
Only a second reminder from Mrs. Hudson about our new neighbour. She urges you to remove your...
Oh, I don't care about that.
Holmes, the lady who will be moving in shortly has requested the use of our spare room to place all of her boxes.
Wait. What? A lady?
What are you gonna... What does that mean? Don't do anything to the lady. Don't do anything to the lady. Okay, I got that right? Space. Okay, I got all of that right. And we condemned Foley. And we did not allow the merry men to blow things up. Accept decision. Yes. Personality ranking just. People solved the case the same way, 96%. I mean, it was pretty simple. The case was pretty straightforward in the end. People who made the same moral choice, 83%. Yeah, right. Good. I mean, he shot the guy in the head. What are you going to do? Let him go free? He mugged the guy and shot him in the head in the process. I mean, what else is he going to do? You got to turn him in, right? Alright, so that's the end of the game, it looks like, because the achievement is 6 out of 6. So there were 6 cases. What a great game. What an interesting game. I'm not sure what this stuff means. Oh, that's the sailor killing that guy, and that's the woman. I'm trying to remember the cases again. It's been a while. They're complex cases. Alright. And then there's the hut. Ah, a bunch of wife-beating men. What's going on? And you'll notice that the people who committed domestic violence, we don't solve that crime. We don't solve the crime of domestic violence. We solve the crime of what happens after they get killed by someone else. That's the crime we have to solve, not the fact that they beat their wives. That's apparently not a problem that Sherlock Holmes deals with. Alright, interesting game. Interesting game, interesting stories, interesting morality things. Interesting puzzles. It's just a great game overall. Really, really high quality stuff. This is amazing. I think we should all spread the word. Well, except for the Chinese thing. And I guess the Mexican thing was a little bit racist. The Chinese thing was just super racist. So aside from the Chinese part, Jesus, I can't believe what happened with the Chinese thing. But if you're a white person and you don't really care about how your stories trivialize other cultures, then it's a great game and a great story. Oh man, Jesus. Alright, now that I remember that, everything about this is great except for how they treat other cultures. Like, what on earth was that about? That was so bad. Maybe you don't realize how bad it is. If you're not Chinese, maybe you don't quite notice how bad it is. It is pretty terrible. I don't... anyway, the rest of the game is pretty good. Were you paying attention? Were there any Chinese names in the voice actors? There wasn't, right? I'm pretty sure there wasn't any Chinese names in the voice actors. There was a white guy pretending to be a Chinese person. I shouldn't focus so much on that because the rest of the game is really good. But that part is just atrocious. The Mexican part wasn't great either. Like there was like this, like the subtext, the racist subtext with the Mexican guy as well. Do we have more? What else is there to do? Open casebook, exit. Open casebook, exit. What else is there to do? Do we just look at our achievements? I can open casebook. Task, crimes and punishments. Map, Baker Street. Evidence, nothing. Documents, nothing. Dialogues, nothing. Chronicle, personality, just. So there were 6 cases. Condemn, condemn, arrest, condemn, absolve, political game. Souvenirs, we got 6 souvenirs. Wait, we took the dangerous plant. Why would we keep that of all things? We kept a deadly plant as a souvenir. That seems silly. Plants can be used for murder. Oh, wait a minute. What about the last one? What about the number 6? I guess there was no number 6. And then profiles or portraits. There's our portraits. So that's it, right? There's nothing else to do. Casebook and exit. Main menu. Yes. Alright, well there's the game. Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishments. What a great game. A good exercise for your mind. Interesting characters, interesting stories. Just a little bit of racism. Bit of racism, but everything else is really interesting. And the thing is, the racism is not necessary, right? Because the rest of it is so good. If only they had like a Chinese guy on the team to tell them what to do and what not to do, and just not make it racist. If they hired one Chinese guy and just let him tell you how to do that properly, then the game would be 100% good instead of like 95% good. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just that little bit of laziness, that little bit of lack of diversity in your game development team just puts that there. And they don't even, I don't think they even notice. I don't think they would notice because they have this kind of white person bubble. Let me just see the credits again. And let me just pay attention to the names. I don't know what country they're from, but it's somewhere Eastern European, I believe. So let's pay attention to the names. Like Alexander Opera, Sergei something. So these are all like Eastern European. Olga, Risk, is it? I don't know if they're Russian, if they're Ukrainian, but they're somewhere around there. We can find out. We can find out. But just look at the lack of Chinese names. Like they're all white people and they're all Eastern Europeans. I mean, there's not even like British people or Americans or anything, right? It's not even like, it's not just there's no Chinese or Indians or Africans. It's not just that. It's just, so not only are they just white people, they're a specific part of Europe. Look at those names. Like there's so little diversity, and so it's really not surprising. It's really not surprising that they would botch the Chinese part. There's so little diversity, look at that. And so the thing is, when you don't have the diversity in your team, that the story you tell is from one particular perspective, right? The story you tell is from one particular perspective, and so it's got blind spots. When you only have one perspective, then you have blind spots, and you don't notice it. And that, yeah, the Chinese guy in this game, seriously, is bad. Seriously bad. Focus Home Interactive, managing partner, French guy? I mean, they're still European. Ching, there's one Chinese guy. Press relations. graphic designers, media video, Dimitri Robert, Duca. That's okay. So this is more diverse, slightly more diverse, more other Europeans, and I think there's like one Chinese guy, Jean-Pierre Burdon. That's the French, right? Translations, the Bertha Reed, Korea and Japanese, voices, Soho voices, cast. Look at the voice cast. No Chinese people. Of course they weren't any Chinese. I knew it. No Chinese people in the voice cast. So it's yeah, there you go. Anyway, let's stop talking about that because, well, I guess we should discuss the problems, but let's not let that overshadow the rest of the game, which is a great game. Alright, I'll see you in the next game I play. What a great game. 9.5 out of 10. Take half a point off for racism.